Welcome back to Easy English Talk Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to Easy English Talk Podcast. Priya, hey, how are you doing today?
Ryan, I am doing really well, thank you. I had a quiet morning, made some tea, and just enjoyed the calm before we started recording.
That sounds lovely. I had a busy morning myself, but I am happy to be here now, sitting down and talking with you. There's nowhere else I would rather be right now.
Honestly, same. These conversations always make my day a little better. I think our listeners feel that too.
I hope so. And speaking of our listeners, hello to everyone joining us today. Whether you are listening on a long drive, during a walk, or just relaxing at home, we are so glad you are here.
Yes, welcome everyone. It always makes us smile knowing people from so many different parts of the world tune into this podcast.
Which actually brings me to something I love asking. Where are you listening from today? Drop it in the comments. Tell us your city, your country, even just say hello.
We genuinely love reading those comments. It reminds us that this little podcast reaches so many wonderful people around the world.
And while you're there in the comments, I want to ask you something a little more personal. Is this podcast helping you improve your English? Are you feeling more confident listening, understanding, or even speaking?
That matters to us so much. We put a lot of care into keeping the language simple, the conversations natural, and the topics meaningful. So your feedback really does help us do better.
Please share your thoughts. We read them and we appreciate every single one. Now, today we are discussing 9 things that can break your fast in Ramadan.
This is such an important topic, especially for anyone observing Ramadan or trying to understand it better. And we are going to explain everything in clear, simple English.
So if you've ever wondered what actually breaks a fast, or if you are someone learning about Ramadan for the first time, this episode is going to give you real, practical answers.
And even if you think you already know the basics, you might be surprised. Some of these things are not obvious at all, and knowing them can make a real difference.
Let us start from the very beginning, though, because before we talk about what breaks the fast, it helps to understand what fasting in Ramadan actually means.
Absolutely. Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar. During this month, Muslims around the world fast from the break of dawn until sunset every single day.
And fasting here is not just about skipping meals. It is a spiritual practice. It is about self-discipline, gratitude, and becoming closer to God.
The fast begins at a time called Fajr, which is the pre-dawn prayer, and it ends at Maghrib, which is the sunset prayer. During those hours, certain things are not allowed.
And that is exactly what we are exploring today. The 9 things that, if done during fasting hours, will break the fast and require the person to make it up later.
Now, it is important to say that Islamic scholars have discussed these things in great detail. What we are sharing today is based on widely accepted knowledge across most Muslim communities.
So let us get into the first one. And honestly, this one is the most obvious, but it is worth saying clearly. Eating or drinking anything intentionally will break the fast.
Yes, this is the foundation of fasting. From dawn to sunset, no food and no drink should enter the body. That includes water, juice, coffee, tea, anything.
The key word there is intentionally. If someone forgets they are fasting and eats something, most scholars say the fast is not broken. It was an honest mistake.
That is actually a beautiful part of the ruling. It shows that the intention behind the action truly matters. If your heart was not in it, the accident does not count against you.
But if a person knowingly eats or drinks during fasting hours, that breaks the fast completely and must be made up on another day.
And in some cases, depending on the school of thought, there may also be expiation required, which is a form of making up for the act beyond just repeating the fast.
Now, let us talk about the second thing, which is closely related but a little different. Smoking breaks the fast.
Yes, and this surprises some people. Smoking involves inhaling substances into the body, and scholars consider this to be similar to consuming something, so it does break the fast.
Whether it is a cigarette, a pipe, or even a hookah, which is very common in many parts of the Middle East and South Asia, it all applies the same way.
And this is another reason why Ramadan is actually seen by many as a great opportunity to quit smoking. The motivation to protect the fast can really help people stop.
That is a wonderful way to look at it. Using a spiritual month as a turning point for a healthier lifestyle is something many people have genuinely done successfully.
Now, moving on to the third thing, and this one is a little more sensitive but important to discuss clearly. Sexual intercourse during fasting hours breaks the fast.
Yes, and this one carries the most serious consequence in Islamic law. It is not just a matter of making up one missed fast day.
For this specific act, the expiation is significant. A person must either fast for 60 consecutive days or feed 60 poor people, or free a slave, though that last option is historical and rarely applicable today.
This shows how seriously fasting is taken as a spiritual commitment. The rules are not arbitrary. They reflect the depth of the practice and the values behind it.
And it's worth saying that this applies only during the actual fasting hours, from dawn to sunset. After the fast is broken at sunset, these restrictions no longer apply.
Exactly. Ramadan is a time of heightened consciousness, not a permanent restriction. The daytime hours are dedicated to worship and discipline.
Now, let us talk about the fourth thing, which is something many people might not immediately think of. Deliberately vomiting breaks the fast.
This is an important one. If a person forces themselves to vomit while fasting, that act breaks the fast and it must be made up later.
However, and this is a very important distinction, if vomiting happens involuntarily, meaning the person could not control it, the fast remains valid.
So again, intention plays a central role. If your body reacts on its own, you are not held responsible. But if you caused it deliberately, the fast is broken.
This ruling makes a lot of sense when you think about it. The body doing something naturally is very different from a person making a conscious choice.
And this is a point that comes up in everyday situations too. If someone feels nauseous and vomits without any control over it, they can continue their fast for the rest of the day.
That is actually reassuring for a lot of people, especially those who may be unwell during Ramadan. The religion accounts for natural human experiences.
Now, the fifth thing is something that has become more commonly discussed in modern times, and it relates to medical procedures. Injections or IV fluids that are nourishing can break the fast.
This is a topic that comes up a lot in hospitals and clinics during Ramadan. If an injection provides nutrition directly into the bloodstream, many scholars consider this to break the fast.
However, regular medical injections, like an antibiotic shot or a vaccine, are generally considered acceptable and do not break the fast.
The key distinction is whether the injection is nourishing the body or simply treating it medically. A glucose drip, for example, would typically be considered fast-breaking.
This is why many Muslim patients discuss their fasting intentions with their doctors during Ramadan. It requires careful thought and sometimes a religious ruling based on individual circumstances.
And scholars encourage people to seek proper guidance in these situations, rather than assuming either way. Medical needs are taken seriously in Islam, and there is always room for exception when health is at risk.
That is such an important point. If fasting poses a genuine risk to a person's health, they are permitted to break it and make it up later. Health comes first.
Now, let us move to the sixth thing, and this one involves the menstrual cycle. For women, the start of menstruation during fasting hours breaks the fast.
This is well established in Islamic law. When a woman begins her menstrual period, her fast is automatically broken, even if it happens just minutes before sunset.
And she is not required to continue fasting during that time. Once her cycle ends and she has completed the required purification, she resumes fasting and makes up the missed days later.
The same applies to postnatal bleeding, which is the bleeding that occurs after childbirth. A woman experiencing that also does not fast during that period.
This shows a deep respect for the physical experiences of women. Islamic rulings in this area are genuinely compassionate and practical, not punitive.
Absolutely. The days missed are not lost. They are simply delayed, and the woman makes them up at her own pace after Ramadan ends.
Now, the seventh thing is one that not everyone is aware of, and it relates to something called cupping. Cupping therapy, known as hijama in Arabic, is considered by some scholars to break the fast.
Cupping is an ancient form of therapy where cups are placed on the skin and suction is applied. Sometimes blood is drawn out through small incisions on the skin.
The reasoning behind this being fast-breaking comes from a hadith, which is a recorded saying of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that mentions both the one who performs cupping and the one who receives it having broken their fast.
However, this is one of those areas where there is genuine scholarly discussion. Some scholars hold that this hadith has been abrogated, meaning replaced by later guidance, and that cupping does not break the fast.
So different communities may follow different rulings on this. It is always wise to ask a trusted scholar who follows your own school of thought for guidance.
That is true for many of these points, actually. Ramadan rulings can vary slightly depending on the school of Islamic jurisprudence a person follows.
And that variety is not a weakness. It reflects the richness and depth of Islamic scholarship over 14 centuries of thoughtful discussion.
Now, the eighth thing is related to something intentional done to the body, and it involves the deliberate swallowing of something that reaches the throat and goes beyond it.
This is a broader category that covers things like swallowing pebbles, paper, or any non-food item on purpose. If it passes beyond the throat intentionally, the fast is broken.
This might seem unusual, but it is included because fasting is about protecting the body from taking in anything during those hours, not just food and drink.
It also covers things like swallowing toothpaste while brushing. If a person is careful and does not swallow it, brushing the teeth is perfectly fine during fasting hours.
Which is actually a point many people ask about. Can you brush your teeth while fasting? Yes, you absolutely can, as long as you do not swallow the paste or water.
The same care applies to rinsing the mouth, which is actually recommended during prayer preparation. You rinse gently and spit completely. The goal is cleanliness, not consumption.
And the ninth thing, which we have saved for last, is apostasy, which means leaving the faith of Islam. If a person abandons their belief in Islam during the fast is void.
This is listed in classical Islamic jurisprudence as one of the nullifiers of the fast. If a person returns to Islam sincerely, they would need to make up the fast later.
Now, this is clearly a deeply personal and spiritual matter. We mention it because it is part of the complete traditional list, not to make anyone feel judged or uncomfortable.
Ramadan is ultimately a time of spiritual renewal and reflection. The idea is that the fast is inseparable from the belief and intention that gives it meaning.
And intention is actually something that runs through almost every single one of these 9 points. So much of what breaks a fast comes down to whether a person meant to do it or not.
That is such a profound aspect of Islamic practice. The law looks at the heart, not just the action. A mistake made without awareness is treated very differently from a deliberate choice.
Let us just take a moment now to bring all 9 of these together. The first is eating or drinking intentionally. The second is smoking. The third is sexual intercourse.
The fourth is deliberately vomiting. The fifth is nourishing injections or IV fluids. The sixth is the onset of menstruation or postnatal bleeding.
The seventh is cupping therapy, depending on the school of thought. The eighth is intentionally swallowing a non-food item. And the ninth is apostasy.
These 9 things, when understood clearly, give a much fuller picture of what fasting in Ramadan actually means and how carefully it is observed by millions of people every year.
And one thing that strikes me every time we discuss topics like this is how much wisdom and thought has gone into these rulings over centuries of scholarship.
Absolutely. These are not random rules. They come from a deep tradition of trying to understand and protect the spiritual and physical integrity of one of the most sacred acts of worship in Islam.
For our non-Muslim listeners, we hope this gave you a clearer and more respectful understanding of what Ramadan fasting involves. It truly is a remarkable practice.
And for our Muslim listeners, we hope hearing it explained in simple, clear English was useful, whether for your own understanding or for sharing with others who are curious.
That is actually something beautiful about this podcast. We talk about topics that matter across cultures, and we do it in a way that everyone can follow and appreciate.
And the English practice that comes along with it is a bonus. Every episode you listen to is helping your brain process natural English conversation at a comfortable pace.
So keep listening, keep engaging, and keep growing, both in your English skills and in your understanding of the world around you.
Before we wrap up, I just want to say how much we appreciate you choosing to spend your time with us. There are so many podcasts out there, and the fact that you are here means a lot.
It really does. And if this episode helped you, please share it with someone who might benefit. A friend, a family member, someone who is learning English or curious about Ramadan.
Sharing is one of the kindest things you can do. It helps this podcast grow, and it helps more people find a space to learn and grow together.
And if you enjoyed today's discussion, there are so many more episodes waiting for you on Easy English Talk podcast. We cover topics from health and relationships to culture, mindset, habits, and much more.
Every episode is designed to help you improve your English naturally, while also giving you something genuinely interesting and meaningful to think about.
So explore the channel, find a topic that speaks to you, and keep the learning going. We will be back very soon with another conversation we think you are really going to enjoy.
Until then, take care of yourselves, stay curious, and keep practicing. You are doing better than you think.
From both of us here at Easy English Talk podcast, thank you so much for listening. We will see you in the next episode.